Attention all pharmacy industry professionals. This isn't your grandfather's podcast. This is...
What the hell are you talking about? Our grandfathers never even listened to podcasts. The internet wasn't even around.
Shut your pie hole. My grandfather loves podcasts, and so does my maka.
Your what?
This is the RxRated podcast, part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Did you say maca?
Put the fidget spinners away. Punch in the coordinates for the jump to light speed. And do or do not. There is no try.
What kind of asshat introduction is this?
The podcast dedicated to all the pharmacy professionals in this crazy sector of healthcare.
What was that?
The RxRated podcast.
Dude, seriously? You already said that 3 other times. This is bullshit.
Welcome to the RxRated podcast. This is your host, Dr. Jeffrey Winger. That's at JWingerPharmD on Twitter. And with me is my co-host, Dr. Robinson. How are you today, sir?
Well, I don't have corona, so I'm pretty good.
I have a corona with a lime in it. Does that count? Okay, that was lame. And
self-quarantine for 14 days.
Joining us once again is one of our favorite guests, Dr. Nick Bradford. How are you today, sir?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Do you have coronavirus?
No, got a Bud Light with lime, so I'm close. So
just for the record, I feel that our listeners are probably tired of hearing about COVID-19 and coronavirus, so I move that we do not discuss this and give our listeners a break once and for all, and we'll just talk about happy stuff that makes them laugh. Everybody with me on the same page?
Sounds good.
Sounds
all
good.
Right. So my first question is, you'd think by now that the various chains would have the plexiglass barriers up for us, right? Where the hell are the plexiglass barriers? They promised that shit. Oh, sorry. Okay, here's another question. I just, where's our hazard pay? I want hazard pay. What the fuck?
We should have been getting hazard pay before the coronavirus.
Risking our lives every day.
How's the government getting paid when we're not working?
Yeah, everybody in Congress is still getting their goddamn paychecks. Meanwhile, how many millions of people are out of work? Oh, sorry, I forgot. We weren't supposed to talk about this. Fuck it.
I think we're just going to dive into it.
I had a woman come up to me because, everybody's out of everything. And everybody's been out of everything for a long time. Do you have any hand sanitizer? Do you have any this? Do you have any gloves, face masks, germ filter masks? Like, no, man, we've been out. Everybody's been out of this shit for weeks. Where have you been? This woman says to me, oh, so you're out of everything we need. Like it's our fault. Like we're the producers, the manufacturers of this stuff. It's like, lady, everybody's been buying this shit like crazy. Have you been living under a rock? Have you been on the internet? There's people buying tissue paper by the dozens. I mean, how can you be mad at us? Like I couldn't believe
I had a gentleman ask if we had masks, and I said, no, we're out. And then he goes, well, what's that on your face? I'm like, well, we have masks for ourselves. And he's like, well, can't you just tell me those? I'm like, no. He's like, well, you're fucking full of it. I'm like,
yeah, we're hoarding.
We're so unbelievable.
You could have sold him your mask for a lot, maybe.
We got masks that we are only supposed to use if we give immunizations. And we're supposed to give the patient the mask, and then we wear it as well. Have either of you guys heard of anyone giving immunizations? As far as I know, every pharmacist I know has stopped giving immunizations.
To be honest, I returned all my immunizations. Well, any of the other immunizations that people still want to get, I think I did give Tdap because, they wanted to get it because their daughter was having a baby. So I felt bad. So I said, okay.
The pharmacy manager at my location has stopped giving immunizations. So that let me off the hook. Like, well, if he's not going to do it, then I'm sure as hell not going to do it. I was willing to do it. I'm like, if he's not going to do it, then fuck it. I'm not doing it.
They should give us dart guns or blow darts. We can
6 feet away. Yeah, just shoot them with the whatever shingles. Have you guys had questions about? I love when you get these questions like, I need something for a temperature. I'm like, what do you mean temperature? You mean fever? Because everybody has a temperature. Even dead people have a temperature. It's called room temperature. Like, Words mean things. You
Yeah.
mean fever, right? It's just I'm constantly deciphering what people are saying.
Also, does that mean checking temperature or lowering a high temperature?
Well, we're out of thermometers too. Like everybody's out of thermometers. Like, do you have any thermometers? Like, no. You answer these questions 100 times per day. It's like, no. When are you going to get some in? Like, we don't know. Every time we ask the front end people, because they're the ones that order that stuff, they say, we don't know. So we don't know. It's just kind of scary. I know we're all in the health field, so we have to be out there. We're essential workers, but are you guys out and about? You know, I see a lot of people jogging, walking their dogs, riding their bikes. Are you noticing this? Like, people are getting out more. It's kind of weird. It's kind of antithetical to what you would think, because we're supposed to be under house arrest, so to speak, but it seems like more people are going outside.
It's kind of like neighborhood arrest. I'm going outside for walks, which I never do, but I've been enjoying it because what else can I do?
Yeah, I see fathers playing with their sons in the driveway, and people are walking that I've never even seen before, and dogs I've never seen before. This might be a good thing, right? People are getting out.
In a way, yeah. I mean, there are some positives coming out of this.
They said domestic violence was on the rise because people can't get out. So I don't know what's
I
worse
did
or
hear,
better.
yeah, I did hear about that.
They're also predicting another baby boom 9 months from now. That's just what we need. Another generation of baby boomers.
Generation Alpha is what they'll be called.
I have noticed that some good might come out of this, because finally, I've been doing this for 20 years. Finally, we're getting some sort of appreciation. You know, we're not just schmucks filling prescriptions. People are actually thanking us for being there. Like, thank you for being open. You know, stay safe. I get this all the time. Like, stay safe. Thank you. Like, oh my God, they actually appreciate us. Finally, we're getting some recognition, guys. It's unbelievable. Do you get that?
In the hospital, not really. But
that's
the one thing I'm enjoying is that we're not allowing guests in, so I don't have to deal with annoying family members sitting at bedside of the patient.
Yeah, Dr. Bradford, you're in the hospital setting. Tell me what's going on. What's the state of mind? Is everybody sort of beaten down, or are they, cautiously optimistic?
Everyone is scared. Like,
yeah.
Well, I suppose no one really knows what kind of protective equipment they're supposed to be putting on because there's been so much inconsistency. I mean, we've been told what the CDC recommends, but they're also like, well, if you have N95 masks, yeah, go ahead and use them. But keep in mind, it's not an airborne virus unless you're doing aerolizing treatments. And it's confusing people. And there's people who think that there is no amount of protection available. Like, you know, a hazmat suit is the minimum required protection. Otherwise, you're dealing with the Motaba virus from Outbreak. You know, it's just gonna get you. So people are scared.
I'm hearing rumors that it might be airborne. They're not sure.
I guess that's part of the thing. That's they're constantly updating things. And then last we heard that they say that, you know, a surgical mask is fine, but it's kind of like if you have an N95 mask available, which is usually used for airborne treatments, then it's like, go ahead and use them, but they're going to be in short supply. So you will get by just fine with a surgical mask. And that kind of talk just scares people. Like, well, that sounds awfully risky and sketchy. I'm not going to risk myself. So coworkers are freaking out a little bit.
I live far from where I work. So every time I drive home from work, I pass several hospitals on the way, and I see in the windows tarps up. I mean, it's like something out of I Am Legend with Will Smith. It's kind of freaky. You see all these tarps, and you're like, oh my God, what's going on up there?
Yeah. What they're doing is people who come in with certain symptoms, they are being tested underneath the little tents or the tarps before they enter the ER, just to minimize exposure.
Wow.
They're working on getting some fast acting results, like or tests. I mean, so like there's a 45-minute test available, and then we heard that there's also a 5-minute test available, so you don't have to wait too long. My hospital's trying to get their hands on it, but short supply, so it's going to be a while before we get them.
Okay, I got a question for you guys, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this, but this is where my mind goes. Just because you get tested today and you're in the clear doesn't mean you're not going to catch this shit tomorrow, right? Everybody acts like, well, I got tested, I'm good. Like, no, you're good for now, but you can still get it. So what's the big deal in testing?
I think they're only testing you if you're presenting with symptoms. Otherwise, they say go home and quarantine for 2 weeks, and let's see what happens. Just to add to that, it's like if you don't get sick, then we saved a test.
Dr.
Yeah.
Robinson, what's your opinion?
I mean, I guess it just depends. Like, I was hearing in New York, they just don't even test if you have certain symptoms. They just will treat you like you have.
They just assume you have it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think like there's no point. I don't see the point in getting tested unless you're like in the NBA and they're trying to start the season, because like you said, you can maybe get it a month from now or so. So
Exactly.
you don't have symptoms, but
Speaking of sports, I was going to get to this later, but since you brought it up, I heard that Trump promised that the NFL season would go on as planned, which is heartening to me as an NFL fan. He probably shouldn't promise stuff like that, but I was glad to hear it.
yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. There'll be like no training camp or preseason, but
I want to see what Brady can do in Tampa. When you guys go out, are you noticing any Christmas decorations in your neighborhood?
No.
People are putting up Christmas decorations in my neighborhood. I think it's to boost morale. I was just curious if it was happening in your areas.
Huh. I guess that would be it, but no, I haven't seen any.
I have Easter decorations put up
Yeah.
like normal people.
I see those too, but people have put their trees back up, and in the front yard, they've got the Christmas crap all back up again. I think just to be joyful or joyous or something, just because, let's face it, depression is probably setting in for a lot of people. So I thought that was heartwarming. It's nice to come together as a community and, do what you can to lift people's spirits, right? Is that cheesy?
No, it sounds fine.
Not if it works, right?
I think another thing, yeah, the depression's on the rise. I also saw, I think you posted something about alcohol consumption or purchasing from stores is on a high right now.
People are drinking alcohol by the gallons now.
They're drinking alcohol and buying guns. Welcome to America.
Gun sales are way up.
Gun sales, yep.
I have to admit my middle-aged man gut has grown a bit because my gym closed weeks ago. Are you guys still exercising at home? I know
Just
you're both
today.
into fitness.
I jog outside, but I don't know when I see people across the street, but
I do that too.
I feel like I'm losing all of my muscles. I used to do more lifting than running. So
exactly. I'm doing the exact same thing. I recently took up jogging again. I used to be a great runner and I stopped like 5 years ago. And then I just started jogging again. And every day I can go a little further. I'm getting better. And I think I'm going to get back into jogging. I kind of miss it. But like you said, I haven't lifted in a while. And I'm worried about losing body mass. That sounds really stupid to say during a pandemic. My primary concern is losing body mass. Yeah, first world problems, folks.
Everyone's concerned about putting on weight because they're staying at home, eating chips, and not exercising.
Oh, yeah, there's all these memes on Facebook and stuff, like day one, and then they show a fat person like 12 weeks later during the pandemic, the quarantine. Everybody's going to get fat. Have you seen these memes?
Yeah.
It's funny. It's clever, but it's kind of true.
The memes seem funnier now than ever.
That's what's great about America. We have a great sense of humor. Well, that's one of the many great things about America, but we are a funny people. I like American sense of humor. I
posted a meme. There was one of toilet paper. You know, when you get to the end, there's still a little bit of toilet paper left.
Yeah.
And on the meme, it says, "Boy, there's still some meat on that bones. Don't be wasting that."
Well, to get off the coronavirus subject a little bit, I have a question that's been nagging at me for a while. It's a retail pharmacy question. Tell me what you guys think. You get these prescriptions. Diflucan is one of them, where it'll say take one now and then take another one in 3 days. What day supply do you put on that prescription?
Say the question again.
Diflucan, 150 milligrams. Take one tablet now and then take another tablet in 3 days. What day supply do you put on that prescription?
Well, that's tricky.
My text will put 2 day supply. I'm like, oh no, they take one today and then they have to take another one in 3 days. So shouldn't that be a 4 day supply?
That's what
You can argue it, I suppose.
These are the kind of things that really bug me when it's
Well,
slow.
it's definitely not a 2-day.
Exactly. It's not a 2-day. You take one now and you take
It's either
another one in 3 days.
or
That's
a
4 days.
4-day. I think it's a 4-day.
Thank you. I'm the only one in my store that agrees with that. It bugs me.
That would clear up confusion. It would actually be less confusing that way than the other way.
Thank you. That's all. I just needed vindication.
It's probably just, for audit purposes, just to go on the safer side with the 4-day.
Another thing that I'm getting annoyed with in retail pharmacy is hyphenated names. Do you guys like? George Carlin did a funny skit on this. I'll probably put it in this podcast, but it's like, lady, pick a name. I can't find you in the computer. They come up to the counter and it's like, I'm picking up for Mary Conchita Alonso Lopez. Like, what's the last name? Maria Conchita Alonso. No, pick one last name. I can't check the M's and the A's and then the L's. Like, time is of the essence. We're busy. Pandemic going on. Busy. Can you narrow it down for me? And then you got the people with 2 profiles, sometimes 3, and only the pharmacy manager can merge profiles. I'm constantly printing out pages of, okay, here's a patient with 2 profiles. Can we merge this? This is the primary one. This is the secondary one. But I'm finding that I'm doing that more and more. It's unbelievable. Do you guys, Dr. Robinson, does this ever come up with you?
Yeah. Well, the thing I hate when somebody's name, they say Jim so-and-so, and I look in the computer in the bins, I can't find it. They go, well, also go by James. Like, no, it's either Jim or James. You got me looking for the wrong fucking name.
Yeah, memorize what it is we have you under. And a lot of times the doctor's office has them under a different name. It's just a pain in the ass. And of course, sometimes the insurance has a different date of birth. We have them as born in 1972, but the doctor's office says they were born in 71, and the insurance thinks they were born in 71, and you have to finagle the date of birth just to get the prescription to go through the insurance. Isn't there a way around this? How do we solve this problem? Because that holds up the assembly line, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Another crime against society, hyphenated names. Hey, lady, pick a fucking name, would you please? Pick a fucking name. Hi, I'm Emily Jerichow Fortescue. Hi, I'm George Jerk Me Off. Fuck you, too. You don't acquire personal dignity by adding a name to your name. Feminists think it's a radical act. It's not. Castrating a guy in a parking lot with a Coke bottle is a radical act. Hyphenating your name is pretentious bullshit.
I know, I'm bitching about minor stuff. Like, who gives a shit?
In the hospital, they don't even have the hyphen. I guess that's not a character that they can print on labels, so they just combine all the letters together.
I had a refill too soon, and it said, we won't fill this until April 7th. Well, when can I pick them up? I said, ma'am, you told me April 7th. You're the one that said the date. So I can't get it any sooner than that? Like, no, that's the point of the date. April 7th. No, you can't get it April 6th. Like, I can't, do I sound elitist? I can't believe I have to explain some of these simple concepts to people. It just bugs me.
You know what? Go ahead.
The problem is that their companies are leaving you guys to explain it, and an explanation doesn't really work well with people who have no idea how the process works. They need like something to read or some kind of visual. Just having you guys just explain it's just going to lead to that every time. People just don't understand how that's going to work, especially if they've never encountered that before.
Dr. Robinson?
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
What I was going to say is what I'm tired of is all these conspiracy theory going around. I didn't realize how many people that I was friends with that would send me text messages or Facebook messages about a book written in 1981 that talked about the Wuhan virus or the 5G tower causing the coronavirus or whatever kind of conspiracy theories that's out there.
Oh, yeah. There's no shortage of people with tinfoil hats on. Let's put it that way.
I think I used to think that we were the smart ones, but maybe God is just trying to wipe us out, because I was watching these videos where the dolphins are in Italy swimming in the whatever that river, or that what's that thing where all the boats go up and down, the dolphins came back, and
Yeah, I
in
saw that.
Indonesia, all the monkeys are running around, and goats and bears are taking over whales.
I saw that. It reminds me of Avengers Endgame when Captain America goes to Black Widow and he says, "Hey, I saw some whales in the New York harbor. The population is gone." And there's a scene where Captain America is telling Black Widow, "There's a bright side to this because I saw some whales in the New York harbor," and she wants to hit him with a peanut butter sandwich. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was in. I don't remember that. I feel like I should know that because I'm a huge fan. But that was an Endgame.
Yeah, Avengers Endgame. Isn't that on Amazon Prime? No, Disney Plus. Do you have Disney?
That's just an excuse for me to watch all 22 movies again.
Is there anything you guys been watching during this pandemic?
Yeah, what have you guys been binge watching?
Today I started Community.
Oh, my favorite show of all time.
I started Ozark 2 days ago.
All right, first, how many episodes of Community did you get through?
I think I finished the 5th one. I like it so far.
Good. It's funny, right?
And I like it more watching it now than before. I'm actually
Community is newly available on Netflix starting on April 1st. So those of you out there who are interested, check out Community. I highly recommend it. Dr. Robinson, how is Ozark?
Ozark is pretty good so far. It's hard because the guy in the film, he ends up purchasing a strip club, and I have a 4-year-old, so I'm always having to pause it. All right, back upstairs, or I don't want her to be looking, especially since she's a little girl.
Is that
so I gotta
Justin
keep
Bateman?
pausing. Yeah, I believe so.
I like Justin Bateman. He's funny.
He's a good actor, so it's been taking me a while to get through it because some of the scenes I have to actually cut it off, where other things I could just, like the Tiger King, I just sit there and let it, watch the whole thing, even if she's there or not. But this one I have to cut off and be like, all right, hold on.
Justin Bateman is the brother to Justine Bateman, who played Mallory on Family Ties, another one of my favorite shows of all time. Just a little trivia for you guys. All right, here's a question I got recently. Tell me how you would answer this at the retail pharmacy. Patient says, "What do you think of Prevagen?"
Prevagen?
I didn't know how to answer. I didn't even know what the hell she was talking. Prevagen? What do you think of Prevagen? I don't know. You ever get those questions? I don't. Let me look it up. I gave her my opinion, but I didn't know what the hell to say. Prevagen. And then you get these people
She's probably like, you should take some because it's from memory.
I love these SIGs that have the as needed, the PRN, 3 times a day, TID, PRN. Well, but I only take it as needed because they want to get an early refill. I only take it as needed. You're missing the point. It says 3 times a day as needed. So we have to go by the 3 times a day thing. The as needed doesn't mean that you get an early refill. That's another thing I have to explain to people. Just because it says as needed doesn't erase the TID that comes before it. You know what I mean? You guys ever get that?
That is a good point, though.
Yeah, the PRN does not erase the TID. I know.
Yeah, it almost needs to be explained to them that the TID that's the max that you take.
That's the primary
not to exceed
point that we use to calculate the day supply.
Yeah.
I think we should be able to just leave it off. Just put TI.
Another question. This is podcast related. What do you think about having some music play real low beneath our voices during the entire podcast? Any opinions on that? Or should we just leave it the way it is?
I'd have to hear it first.
Yeah, and if it were there, it would have to be quite faint.
Exactly.
It would almost be non-existent. I think podcasts, at least when I hear them and they're in silence, that I can really focus in on what they're saying.
Okay, I know a guy that used to do a podcast for a long time, and he always had some underlying music, and it sort of created an ambiance and a mood, but yeah, it can't be too loud. It can't be distracting from what he's saying. But I guess we'll just keep it the way it is. There's just an idea I had. You guys still getting prescriptions that say take 4 tablets once a day for 5 days, and it's written for a quantity of 240? I get that all the time. Of course, you have to call. Like, okay, you guys said 4 a day for 5 days. That's 20. Why did you write it for a quantity of 240? This happens way too often. Or I had a prescription
Sounds like a
that
lot.
take 1 milligram weekly and then increase to 0.5 milligrams weekly. That's not an increase. I get this shit all the time. I'm venting. Thank you for indulging me, but Jesus Christ. I know we got these things now where the real heroes are the doctors and the nurses and the people that are out there, but they still can't do math. That bugs me. Does that make me an asshole? Just tell me.
No, that doesn't, but things you said in previous podcasts does.
That reminds me, we should do just a purely political podcast one of these days and really stir up this shit and stir up some controversy and get the listeners responding and making comments below and all that stuff. What do you think?
I wouldn't be too good at it. That's for sure.
All right. We haven't done any articles in a long time, and I've been saving a couple up. I just want to go over them real quick. This won't take long. Here's the title: What Pharmacists Are Saying About Stress. And here's just some of the things that were sent in by pharmacists. Good techs don't stick around because of the low pay and high stress. That's true. It is hard to find good help because they're not making enough. You get what you pay for, basically. We get weekly threats on vaccinations. We have to meet our quota or we'll lose millions of dollars, blah, blah, blah. So we're threatened with meeting quotas for vaccinations. Here's someone that said, I wish everyone was competent, but that's just not the case anymore. I feel for that person. Here's someone that said, I love my job and what I do. I love the autonomy, but I hate the stressful work politics. I myself have been cursed by the pharmacy gods with horrible stress vis-a-vis work politics. I don't know what it is, but I keep getting stuck with these people that are difficult to deal with. Workflow is always different depending on who's working, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And many argue that working off the clock for free shows companies that they can keep decreasing support staff because they see that everything is getting done. That's a good point. The more that we stay late and come early and do whatever we need to do to get things done, that just tells the company that we work for that we don't need help. I think if we all just punched in at 9 o'clock and left at 9 o'clock and whatever happens, would send a message to them, look, we need more help. We can't get all this done. We can't do everything that you want us to do. We can't make all these calls to the patients to remind them to pick up their prescriptions. We can't do the counts on the bottles to make sure the quantities are correct and do delete lists for prescriptions that have been in the will call bin for too long and fill all these prescriptions and answer the phone, blah, 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 blah. When you put in extra time that you're not getting paid for, aren't you sending a mixed signal that we're going to get it done whether you pay us or not, right? Is that good or bad?
No, I agree with it. It works the same way in the hospital too. We can easily just be fraudulently billing. And if we do, we make it seem like we don't need extra help when we may need extra help. So no, I agree 100%.
Here's another one. Pharmacists are happy with their salaries, but just moderately happy. When asked to rate their satisfaction with their annual total compensation on the scale of 1 to 7, which is stupid. Why would you do 1 to 7? The average answer was 4.74. So it's right in the middle. Regarding overall job satisfaction and using the same scale, the average response was 4.23. And the top 3 reasons given for dissatisfaction were workload, management, and work-life balance. And I could go on, but they quote these pharmacists from these various cities, like so-and-so in North Carolina said this. Like, how did you get so-and-so from North Carolina to chime in? The point is we're being short-staffed. I mean, this is common knowledge, right? No one disagrees with that. And to pretend in this publication that we're okay with it seems crazy to me. Dr. Robinson, what do you think?
I don't think that we're okay with it. We're just tolerant of it because you're just used to it.
That's a good point. It's like being in a Vietnamese concentration camp. At some point, you love the soup that they serve you because that's all you're used to. That might be a bad analogy, but yeah, like the new graduates that come out of school don't know any better, so they're okay with it. Us veterans who know what it used to be like are like, hey, this sucks. But if you don't know any better, you don't know it sucks. This is just how it is for you.
Yeah, I think people just are okay. I was talking to somebody I know that is a district manager, and he was saying that he has like 60 applicants, and probably 40 of those applicants had graduated from pharmacy school 2 years ago and haven't been able to find a job and have no work experience.
Wow.
I think so. I think people are just happy to have a job, so they just, just kind of just
That's
take
true.
it.
I don't know how they can ask that question without some of the, for lack of better words, like a bias coming out.
I concur.
Plus, I don't know, where CVS and Walgreens and other places have added more staff and pharmacists, during this pandemic. But when it's over, what happens? Is everybody going to get a pay cut? Are they going to fire the people who make more money and just use the people that they hired at a lower salary? Because they're not going to be able. I can't see where they could just afford to pay all these people.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Dr. Bradford, do you have a drink for us?
I do. Alrighty, so this was something for spring. So this is called a Robin Redbreast. So it has, to make this, 1.5 ounces of Absolute vodka, 1 ounce of blood orange juice, 1/2 ounce of triple sec, 1/2 ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice, garnish, edible orchid, and orange peel. And there you go. Shake and ice until chilled. There you go. Something for spring.
Fancy. I'll do mine. I got this from Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's a YouTube channel that says, what's in your refrigerator? And they go to celebrities and they tell them what's in their refrigerator. And Schwarzenegger, with a blender, showed how he makes this drink. He uses cherry tart sauce, almond milk. He puts 1 egg in there. Sometimes he puts the whole shell in there. I do not recommend that. I tried that. It sucks. Don't put the shell. 1 banana, and then he'll pour in some tequila or some other kind of booze in there. And he says the cherry tart sauce helps with muscle soreness. So I had one today. I didn't put any booze in mine today, but sometimes I do. And it's really good.
Wow.
You got to blend it really well.
The drink that I tried that actually was pretty good, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled Voila.
Voila.
Probably.
Voila.
Oh.
Voila.
My dumbass was like, Voila. Voila.
Isn't that a musical instrument like a violin, but it's a
viola?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it's spelled.
2 ounces of bourbon, 1 1/2 ounce of freshly squeezed tangerine juice, 1.5 teaspoons of spiced tangerine syrup or simple syrup, some bitters, a splash of champagne or sparkling wine, and then just orange wheel for garnish. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't have a splash of champagne to add to it. But.
All right, we're almost out of time, so let's say our goodbyes. I want to thank the listeners for listening. Now I sound like Austin Powers. I'd like to introduce myself to myself. So just remember, every prescription you fill is another one closer to retirement. And fellas,
Adios.
Don't get corona.
Unless it comes with lime.
Hello, it's your drug dealer. I thought I'd call in case you needed anything at all. You know, you can always call me just to talk, but I mostly want to sell you drugs. Drug dealer.